We heard some pretty dramatic revelations there from Trump's former lawyer. But will they actually change anything, for example, within the Mueller investigation, the Robert Mueller investigation?
Well, that's a really big question because Mr. Cohen, of course, is a known liar. He lied to Congress previously. He will be soon serving 3 years for campaign finance violations, making false statements, tax evasion. And so the Republicans have really tried to impugn his character and say there's really nothing here that you can believe. But at the same time, a lot of what he testified to yesterday is corroborated. And we saw that particularly with the check that was signed, Mr. Trump, which was reimbursement for these hush money payments. So there's quite a lot here to unpack, certainly.
Trump responded by saying, or has responded throughout by saying that Michael Cohen has been lying or is lying in order to try to reduce his jail time. But that seems completely baffling, given that that would not reduce his jail time were he to lie, would it?
Right. I mean, of course, Mr. Trump has an incentive to do this. And really, Republicans went on and on and on yesterday trying to attack and vilify Mr. Cohen. They really didn't engage in much fact finding, and they also didn't really seem to try to defend the president either. It was really just about saying you can't trust this person. He's lied before. He's probably lying now.
Let's look at some of the revelations from Cohen. For example, this construction, the Trump Tower construction in Russia that continued potentially after the campaign had already started. Cohen says that he overheard, he's not 100% sure, but that he overheard that was continuing. In fact, he was asked, without being asked, but he was encouraged essentially to fudge the truth about that. How damaging, if that does come to be proven, how damaging will that be to Donald Trump?
Well, it's certainly damaging. I mean, there are so many headlines that come out of this story. It's sort of hard to know where to begin. If I had to say that there's one top line problem that the president is going to face with regard to significant legal challenges, though, it has to do with directing Mr. Cohen allegedly to deliver these hush money payments, because he didn't just do this while he was a candidate during the campaign. This allegedly happened while he was in the Oval Office. So you had a sitting president engaging in what many believe to be sort of a serious crime. And I think from a legal standpoint, that's what he has to worry about the most. And there are, of course, a lot of political implications that also derive from this as well that will be a challenge for the president going forward.
Donald Trump was asked a question in Hanoi about Michael Cohen. He said that he was impressed that whilst Michael Cohen lied about absolutely everything, he did not lie about Russia collusion, because he said essentially that he wasn't sure. He had no firm evidence on Russian collusion. Now, are we to believe, as Donald Trump says, that Michael Cohen has lied about everything apart from one thing, that he chose just one thing not to decide to lie about in front of Congress?
Right. Well, it is very interesting. Of course, Mr. Cohen is being very careful about what he's testifying to, so he doesn't want to engage in too much speculation. But there are so many different dots that are starting to connect that point, or at least suggest to the fact that there was some sort of collusion, whether that was conspiracy or something else, between the Trump campaign and the Russians. And of course, this is the subject of the ongoing Mueller investigation. It also bears, to some extent, on this possibility that Mr. Trump knew in advance that Roger Stone was talking with WikiLeaks and Julian Assange about this drop of hacked emails from the Democratic National Committee.